Let's take another breath. Let's take one more. We turn within with the breath. We turn within. Be not conformed to this age, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. Be not conformed to this age. We do not go along with these. Oh no. We are transformed to go above and to go beyond the form. We open up wide in this moment to deep revelation. We open up wide to vision. We open up wide to things beyond what we have previously conceived. So we bless this time together, knowing that it is unfolding as it should, perfect, whole, and complete. It is good. We get out of the way. We simply allow it to be, and so it is. I'm feeling a spirit letter.
I can see that.
I heard that.
It's in the voice. It's in the cadence.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what we have. It feels like it is probably 20, 23 minutes. And after such time, there will be time available for questions. For the sake of the recording, it would probably be better for my eyes to be open, but that tends to make me a bit distracted, so I'm going to close them. I also will leave the punctuation in, because editing it out in the moment also is a bit distracting. Take a breath. Today is Monday, January the 16th, 2017. The time is 12:13 p.m. I am the Reverend Deborah Johnson in my family home in Los Angeles. And this is a Zoom meeting, part of the For Such a Time as This series. So there are individuals who are listening in on the telephone. There are individuals who are on video, and there are individuals who are gathered at the Inner Light Center at this time. As a marker, on Friday of this week, January the 20th, will be the inauguration of the 45th President of the United States. Donald Trump. And on the next day, there are a number of marches that are taking place around the country, women's marches. And also on that day, the 21st, there will be the celebration of the 20-year anniversary of Inner Light Ministries. Reverend Dr. Michael Bernard Beckwith will be joining in those festivities. I am here in Los Angeles, having celebrated with Guidance Church yesterday, their 50th anniversary, which was the church that many of us who started Agape came out of. And Agape recently celebrated their 30. Yes, comma, my reverend daughter, comma, for such a time as this, period. I am so pleased that you are bringing these concepts forth at this great moment in history.
You have not entered any numbers. Please re-enter your meeting ID followed by the pound or hash sign.
I don't know what's happening here. Can you see me?
We can see you and hear you.
Okay. Sorry, I gotta go back. I am so pleased that you are bringing forth these concepts at this great moment in the history period. As you have been explaining to people lately, my reverend daughter, there is a continuum in this thing called time, even though time itself does not exist, period. You have been explaining your role as a prophet in the world, period. I gave you a letter some years ago. But it keeps breaking in. Can you mute everybody? I gave you a letter some years ago in which I was making the distinctions between a number of different spiritual callings that you, all of you, often confuse, such as a mystic, a shaman, prophet, a mystic, and the like. And I was explaining to you that the role of the prophet is to connect the dots, period. People often mistake this for fortune telling, period. This is not fortune telling, period. This is simply the capacity to look out upon the horizon from where one is and to discern where the trajectory of that point leads, period. It's not a foregone conclusion that's what will happen, period. It's just merely the evidence that that road does, in fact, lead somewhere, period. The prophets of old were considered mad, crazy, because they often were so disturbed at the trajectory that they saw, period. Oftentimes to no avail, their efforts to get people to turn around, literally is what repent means, to shift directions, period. There is, next paragraph, there's also a concept of a trim tab on a ship that you have been speaking of lately, period. There is a device that with just a slight adjusting will steer the ship in a different direction, period. Just the adjustment of a degree or two will make you land at a different destination, period. Next paragraph, it is good that you have been a trim tab in this moment in time, period. Next paragraph. However, comma, there is another aspect of this continuum, period. You know that the continuum is open-ended on both ends, period. When people think of prophets and prophecy, they tend to think of merely the forward, period. That is to say that they are merely considering from this point and where does it go from here, period. Next paragraph. However, comma, as you know, comma, everything comes from something, comma, my child, period. Nothing comes from thin air, period. Consciousness has legacy, period. If there were such a thing as DNA for consciousness, there would be such a thing, period. Which is to say that the prophetic gift that you have been given stretches in both directions, period. Understand what it is that I am saying here, my reverend daughter. Next paragraph. You also have the capacity to see how the present moment connects to the past, period. You can trace the quote unquote breadcrumbs, parentheses, as you would say, end of parentheses, from one era of history to another and perceive the error, period. In this way, you perceive life as very organic, period. You understand that there is an unfoldment that takes place, period. Next paragraph. Now, I know it's a little crazy making to you because you see the totality of it all, period. So when other people are upset because they can't see the fruits, let alone anything that even resembles a tree, ... You're already rejoicing in the harvest because you're living in the roots, period. And you know that there can be nothing else other than that, period. Next paragraph. And it's time for you, and all of you who are involved in this program, to help connect the dots, period. You were so right, my reverend daughter, in one of your recent sermons when you described the situation as gardeners who keep pruning the same rose bush, only for the rose bush to keep coming back the next year, period. There is this assumption that if somehow or another they just cut off what they don't want or just knock it all off, that it would be over, period. And to the naked eye, a pruned rosebush, a pruned bougainvillea in particular, as you have noted, really looks bare and barren to the naked eye once pruned, period, and such as it often feels in your lives, period. Next paragraph. However, when the roots are strong, it will always come back, period. This is so-called good news, and this is so-called bad news, as you would often say, my reverend daughter, period. The good news is that when you tend to your garden, when you consciously plant the seeds of righteousness that I have given to you, comma, the fruit is ever so sweet, period. Next paragraph. However, comma, you also know that the bitter fruit also comes from the seeds of injustice and supremacy, period. These also have deep roots in the collective consciousness and in your social, political, economic infrastructures, period. Next paragraph. It is good that you understand that it's not enough to just keep pruning, period. It is good that you understand that it's not enough to just keep looking toward the future, period. It's good that you understand that there are past things that need to be reconciled as well as retrofitted, period. Quotation mark, feel, comma, deal, comma, heal, end of quotation mark, as I have told you, comma, time and time again, period. It is time for all of you to feel, comma, deal, comma, and heal, period. Next paragraph. Now, everybody's not going to be real excited about the feel, comma, deal, comma, and heal, comma. This is a time when the quote unquote victim, villain, hero triangle, end of quotation mark, is running amok. Period. It's running amok. Period. Do not fan those flames. Period. I speak to all of you now. Do not fan those flames. Period. Watch what you say. Period. Watch what you think. Period. Watch what you feel. Period. Watch what you do. Period. Watch where you go. Period. Watch what you write about. Period. Watch what you read. Period. Watch what you put out in the ethers through your so-called social media. Period. Beware. Period. Beware. Period. Beware. Period. Next paragraph. Beware is really to be aware. Period. Wake up. Period. Wake up. Period. Stop the slumbering, sleepwalking. Period. Your society needs to wake up. Period. Next paragraph. Now, there is a sense of waking up, but the sense of waking up is too much on the triangle. Period. The sense of waking up that exists now is waking up to how evil and bad all those other people are. Period. This is not the awakening. Period. The great awakening is not more othering and more vilifying. Period. Oh no. The great awakening is to know who you are, to stand in the power and the truth of who you are, period. To speak the vision of possibility of who you are and what the world can, comma, and will be when all of you awaken. Period. Next paragraph. Are you willing to be beacons in the night? Question mark. Are you unwilling to put your light under a bushel just to make sure that the so-called undeserving do not get your light? Question mark. Are you willing to turn, comma? That is to say, to not follow the pack down the path of demonization and denigration? Question mark. It really doesn't matter who's doing the denigrating or who's being denigrated, period. It's not holier when the so-called progressive are demonizing the conservative, period. Demonization is demonization, period. Next paragraph. Do you have the heart to stand for? Question mark. I know that most of the conversation is about how do you stand up to those who are politically opposed to you, period. As the dear Reverend daughter here has been saying through these sessions, period. Quote, that's not your problem. Exclamation point, end of quotation mark. Next paragraph. Can you stand up amidst and among and within, and sometimes up against the ones who actually share your opinion, but not your perspectives, period. Who share your vision, but not your values. Question mark. Who share your hunger for the world that values everybody, but not the heart space that really does value everybody. Question mark. Prayer. The work for you to do is so close to home, period. The Reverend daughter here has been talking about the low-hanging fruit from the perspective of the analogy that I gave earlier of the forward motion, period. However, the charge before you is not just the low-hanging fruit from the forward motion, but the hardened heart from the so-called backward motion or the path, period. Next paragraph. Oh, it's so much sexier and sensational to pick up the sword, or even perceive it as picking up the cross, and fighting the good fight forward, period. It's so much more challenging for you to feel like you are risking the collegiality, the camaraderie with the ones that are the most aligned with you, period. Oh, it's easier to speak out against the ones that you never speak to. Period. But can you speak up and not let yourself be silent amongst the ones that you commune with the most? Question mark. Can you show up in your truth and authenticity in those conversations? Question mark. Next, figure. Now, I'm not asking you to be self-righteous. Period. My righteousness has nothing to do with human self-righteousness. Period. I'm not asking you to be judgmental or condescending. Period. I'm just simply saying, do you have the courage to not just go along with the crowd? Question mark. Do you have the courage to speak about oneness when other people are busy excluding and separating? Period. Is there room enough in your paradigm to include the ones that you think are part of the problem? And the willingness to even insert yourself and those you love in that equation as part of the problem? Question. Come on. Next paragraph. This, comma, my children, is more so the work that is ahead. Period. Yes, speak of your vision. But what is most fundamentally at stake now, comma, my children, is values. Period. Next paragraph. As the dear Reverend daughter here says sometimes, quote, everybody ain't down with this oneness thing. Period, end of quotation mark. Just really how down, quote unquote, are you with it? Question mark. Are there any questions?
Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So if you'd like to speak, and you're on the computer, you just do unmute. If you're on your phone, it's *6. Is there anybody in the room that has any questions? Barbara, can you unmute on your computer? There you go. Barbara Buchanan.
I'm Barbara, and I have so much gratitude for what's just been spoken, truly from the divine. And my question is, Reverend, are you aware of all the magnificence that you just said?
The dear Reverend daughter is not available at this moment.
That's what I thought. She'll have to listen to this later.
Yes.
Give thanks, give thanks, give thanks. Spoke to my heart, my mind, and my intention.
Are there any questions at this moment?
I have a question. What if you're being divinely guided to lift the sword to be fully armored?
look up in Scripture about the full armor of God. Period. Those are your weapons. Period. When Jesus was in the Garden of Gethsemane, waiting watch for the soldiers to come and to arrest him, he had 3 disciples with him who fell asleep. They were startled upon the arrival of the soldiers. And John reached out and pulled the sword out of the sheath of one of the Roman soldiers and sliced off his ear. And Jesus was horrified. And he took the ear and reattached it to the man's head and healed the soldier. And admonished John, who in your metaphysical circles represents love. Love took up the weapon of destruction. And in your King James version of the Bible, it's stated as saying that in his admonishment, Jesus said, quote, those who live by the sword die by the sword. Period. Next paragraph. This is so important right now in your U.S. Society. Period. So much of the anxieties about the future and who was to be president was around the notion of weapons, guns, not so much swords, but energetically speaking, the same thing. Period. When you are told to pick up your sword, it must be in the vein that the dear Reverend daughter here was speaking of a couple of days ago. She likens the process between us as what she calls, quote unquote, Zorro. Period. The Reverend daughter here knows that her tongue is sharp. Period. She has been well trained in debate and arguments. Period. She is lethal in that way without ever, quote unquote, cussing anybody out. Period. End of quotation mark. Next paragraph. She describes herself as a prize fighter who has hung up the boxing gloves and no longer gets in that ring, period. However, there are those moments in time that she hears what is the pact between us as Zorro, period. And in this moment, she pulls out the sword, and it swings to her right. Boom, it swings to her left, symbolizing cutting off the opportunities for the ones in front of her to move in either direction. And then she takes the point and puts it right below the Adam's apple. Where they can feel the tip. And they are afraid that she's going to push it in. But she never does. And they know that they are being spared mercy at that moment. and there is a humbling that happens. They are essentially, quote unquote, backed into the corner. Period. It is a form of a spiritual aikido, so to speak, where they must yield. Period. They can no longer continue in that direction. Period. Next paragraph. Your sword is never to slay anybody. Your sword is to cut off options. Period. Your sword is not to slay people. Your sword is like a sickle, comma, like a machete, comma, that clears open paths, that lets people go down a path that actually didn't exist that moment before because it was full of brush and debris. Your sword is to create a way so that people can come out whole, not dead. And you leave the transforming to me. Leave the transforming to me. When I handle the situation, it is redemptive. Period. When you humans handle it, it is punitive. Period. Listen to me. Period. Because unless you're fighting out of love, comma, it's just a fight, comma, as Muhammad Ali said. Period. Are there any more questions?
Can you tell more about the role of the mystic in this time?
Yes. The role of the mystic is much in the scriptural quote that the dear Reverend daughter here did in the opening prayer of be not conformed to this age, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. Period. The world can be too much with you. Period. The mystic still lives in the mystery. Period. The mystic is willing to look beyond the appearances and to not judge by the realm of the senses. Period. The mystic is the one that is able to tune in to the multi-dimensionality of the universe. Period. What's that word? To commiserate with the muses. Come. To walk with the angels. Period. The time-space continuum is irrelevant to the mystic. Period. They are being taught by the ancestor, the sages, and the prophets. They are communing with the spirits of the yet to be born and receiving information from the future, as well as learning from the past. Period. They are not bound by your paradigms and your present day constructs. Period. there is an elevation of consciousness that is transcendent, period. Next paragraph. Whereas the prophet, it deals very much in the material world and bringing forth the beloved community and working with human beings and their potential and possibilities, period. The mystic works in another realm that is of a higher vibratory frequency, period. Transcendent the stuff of this world. Yet the quote unquote knowledge that the mystic brings infuses this world. Period. Are there any other questions? As we conclude, period, I wish to address these women's marches that are being planned around the nation, period. And these are questions to contemplate, period. For what purpose do you march? Question mark. What is your highest goal and intention? Question mark. What will you do with all of this energy that is being harnessed? Question mark. How much is the value of oneness leading in these marches? Question mark. In what ways are you building bridges? Question mark. In what ways are you deepening the ravines? Question mark. What do you intend to accomplish with this specific timing? Question mark. How much compassion do you have for those who do not share your political views? Question mark. Where is the opportunity in your march for the invitation to be joined by those who may not have, quote unquote, been on your same page at the beginning of the march? Question mark. Next paragraph. You see, the purpose of marches is not so much to simply demonstrate a protest, period. That's a picket line, period. Marches are designed to grow in number, comma, to swell, comma, to bring attention to an issue that is an invitation for people to get involved in the issue as part of the solution. Period. If the vision is not clear, then it is dismissed as angry protests, angry demonstrations that are easily dismissed. Period. This is not unlike how your society often feels about the outrage that happens when communities riot. Period. During and after the riot, few really pay attention to what the underlying issues were that sparked the riots in the first place. Period. They often do not result in the listening ear of the ones whose hearts need to be changed the most. Period. Next figure. This is not to say that these riots or marches have not served purposes in some ways, especially for the people who are involved in them. Period. Next figure. But I ask the larger question of what is your deepest intent? Period. Remember, the consciousness that obtains sustains. Period. What are you trying to obtain? And how will that be sustained? Question mark. Is it within your processes up front? Question mark. Think on these things. Comma, my children. Think on these things. Period. Next, a paragraph. As I said in the beginning, I am most pleased that you are addressing these issues for such a time as this. End of quotation mark. There are great things ahead for this ministry. Period. There are great things ahead for this spiritual community as it picks up this mantle of oneness. Period. Do not be dissuaded. Period. Do not be distracted. Period. No matter what it is that happens on any front, do not let it confuse you about who you are and what you are here to do. Period. I will provide all. 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 Period. Next paragraph. You will be resourced. You will have what you need to be able to, quote unquote, take this consciousness and to multiply it. Period. Or whatever it is that are the needs of your spiritual community and of your organization will be met. Period. Do not. Period. Do not. Period. Do not become distracted at this great moment of unfoldment. Period. Your time is now. Period. It's not even nigh. Period. It is now. Now is the anointed time, and now is the appointed time. Period. Be fruitful. Be fruitful. Go forth and multiply this consciousness. That's all she wrote.
Okay.
That's plenty.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Oh, I guess we got to sing.